What up? What up? What up? Welcome to the High Nation Society podcast. We're doing a special edition today, music edition. Good morning, everybody. Damn, I'm tired as fuck. I know I ain't the only one out there, so I'm not gonna be ashamed to say I'm tired as fuck. But thank you everybody for the tune in today. We got a special guest. But I'm gonna start off the segment with my high thought segment. Just a thought to everybody. If you want to be on a certain level, or if you want to be doing certain things, you got to make sure the people that you spend the majority of your time around are on those same things. Because otherwise, it's just going to be a distraction. They're going to be a distraction in your life. If it ain't a plus, it's a minus. You know what I'm saying? So I just want everybody to take that and apply that, to their thoughts and try to let it manifest. So moving along. I'm going to introduce everybody to an artist, an R&B artist. Her name is Masina. Her music is it reminds me of 90s R&B. That's just how I see it. That's how I hear it, and it definitely is something that I will put in my ears because a lot of music nowadays, and I'm not knocking or disrespecting anybody's type of music or style. Everybody listen to all type of different things. But today's music, it seems like it's lost, especially in the R&B field. It's mainstream, at least. I know there's a lot of underground acts that are doing certain things, but let's just focus on mainstream. Mainstream right now, you can't turn on the radio and hear no R&B banger. So let me introduce you guys to the lovely Masina.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good. It's early, but we're up and we're ready to go. Okay.
Oh man, it is super early. I'm like, man, I'm not really used to being on this early, man. Oh my gosh. So how was your weekend?
It was good. It was, kind of restful, but kind of lit in my own personal bubble. It wasn't like a regular July 4th weekend where you're out and, partying and being with a bunch of people. But I think I cultivated a very celebratory energy in my own space, so yeah.
Got it. Yeah, a lot of people were doing different this year, and not really being excited about the 4th of July and not really celebrating the 4th of July. You know what I mean? A lot of people were on that this year. So, I definitely didn't do anything. I've been going back and forth with the whole not celebrating the holiday type thing for the last few years. And I've always, before maybe I didn't really do anything last year either. But previously would give myself excuses like, oh man, it's a family day, or man, it's a day you get off, and I'm not really celebrating this the 4th of July. But when I thought about it myself, I was like, think about this time years and years ago, 300 years ago. Picture me celebrating. Wow. Celebrating with everybody else. Wow. Some of my people are still held in slavery. I'm just trying to put myself in that moment. So that's what made me decide to really, really, okay, man, you can't be about all this you say you are and still do that, because you'll be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So,
For me, I feel like there's a way to take advantage of the opportunity to be with your family and to celebrate life itself, but
right.
not necessarily to feed into the specific, July 4th Independence Day type of thing for America. But
Right, the popping fireworks. I know a lot of people like fireworks, but that's what they did in celebration. So you're celebrating, while your people, some of these people are ancestors of ours and directly in our bloodline. So I just couldn't see myself doing that. And obviously you can't make people do anything. It's just a little strange, about. We saw all the uproar and excitement and about the thing with George Floyd, and it had everybody on their fuck that, fuck this tip, and then you see everybody go right back to 4th of July parties and popping fireworks, and
Yeah.
like, man, people are confused, man.
No, it's going to take a long time for people to get out of routine and out of things that we've been conditioned to do. We've been conditioned literally to celebrate 4th of July with fireworks for our whole lives, for generations before us.
Right.
So, I understand the whole tip of like, hey, let's not feed into the image, but it's also like we got to be understanding of, what's truly plausible. It'll take time for us to adjust and for us to really create, um, a lifestyle that supports your ancestry and supports the backs of people who carried this country, as well as living in this country at the same time. So yeah.
I mean, to me, I think people are just scared. People are just scary. People are just, everyone is so stuck on tradition. And I'm like, new traditions can be created.
True.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to roll with that tradition. That's not the only tradition. You can create another tradition. Like,
True.
oh, what if it's tradition? There
Yeah.
can literally be another day where everybody pop fireworks and celebrate, such as Juneteenth. Like, you can pop fireworks on that day.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even people that work on 4th of July, they join the function when they get off work. So it'll be the same thing if you work on Juneteenth, join the function when you get off work.
Right. Right.
So I think people just got to stop being scared. That's another topic, though. We're gonna get into the music thing. So, talk about you know what made you start doing music.
Okay. Well, music has always been a part of my life. It's kind of just been my thing. Like, I don't remember a point in time where I was not singing and performing. My mom says that I would hum before I could talk. So it's kind of always been in my life. I started writing music when I was 14. I play a couple instruments, but um, it's a different level of writing music in an intimate setting and then releasing it to the public. Those are two completely different entities.
Right, right,
And so, I kind of bridged the gap with live performance. So I've written songs, I've sang live. But the thought of hearing myself and people being able to replay it and be like, what was that? What was that? Kind
right,
of freaked me out. Um, so I went through a period of time where I didn't write. I
right,
was focused on other things, specifically a relationship. And when that kind of showed me different sides of myself, I decided, I'm going to take all the energy that I was putting elsewhere and I'm going to put it in myself. And
right.
I'm going to take all of that lack of self confidence and I'm just going to be like, you know what? It's my way or the highway. Let's do it. The time is now. Why not? So that's when I was like, I wrote Smoke and I got such great feedback from my personal friends. They were like, girl, you need to record it. And I was like, for real, don't play with me.
Lord.
They're like, yeah. So when I recorded it and I heard it back, it just hit my heart in a certain way that I was like, okay, we need to do something with this. We need to make it my legacy. So
Right.
when I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make a music video, whatever it takes, because when I tell you I'm independent, I'm completely independent.
Right.
I ain't got no sugar daddy, I ain't got nothing.
Hey. No sugar daddy?
No managers, no agents, I have supportive parents. I work a bazillion jobs, as many as I can, to try and support my dream, because that's really all it is an investment in myself. So
Hey, that's
I
what.
can't expect other people to invest if I don't invest first.
Hey, you got the right idea, you got the right mentality. I mean, you can't lose with that. I respect the independent route a lot. I teach my kids or young people that I know around me. I always talk about independence. Like, do not go signing no deals with nobody. Like, fuck that. You want everything coming to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Make beats, figure out how to produce, figure out how to engineer, figure out how to do all that yourself so you can keep all that in house.
Right. And not only that, don't knock people who are on the same level as you. Just because you're trying to climb the ladder doesn't mean that there's people that are on the same level as you that aren't as talented. Like at first I was like, oh, well, I need to record in like a legit studio. Like I need to be with someone who's in the industry. No, girl, you don't.
Right.
Like, because boy down the street is just as talented as Eeny Meeny Miny Mo in the studio at
Right.
Atlantic, you know?
Right.
So that's another thing that, man, I was blessed with the connections that I have because I felt like people fell into my lap in the perfect time, perfect place for everything to really pan out. So I've just been blessed.
That brings me to my question I actually had before this, but I wanted to get that one out. So, what is your take on the cannabis industry? What is your take on cannabis being legalized a couple of years ago?
Um, I personally don't smoke. I've smoked before.
Mm.
Um, it didn't really, rock my boat or anything. Maybe I was doing it wrong. Who knows? My friends all say, "Well, you ain't did it right." Da, 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 da. But I mean, if you met me, all of my friends know that I'm the most sober, drunk. No, I'm the most drunk, sober person you'll ever meet. I really can't be myself at parties until everybody else is drunk. They're like, "Oh, okay, I can be myself," you know?
Right,
So
right.
I really don't. I have a natural high that I don't necessarily need, an outside source. But as far as the cannabis industry being legalized, I think it's about time. Why are you legalizing alcohol, which is a poison, which is, doesn't do anything for your body, doesn't help you? Whereas there are research studies showing that cannabis helps people with anxiety, with ADHD. There's so many different benefits. My dad has diabetes and has had 2 knee surgeries, and sometimes he puts cannabis oil on his knee. So it's a natural resource, and it's all dependent on how we use it. But at the same time, why not? And people are going to jail just for using something that grows naturally on the earth. That's how I feel like.
Ain't it crazy? And I'm glad I knew you didn't smoke, but I still wanted to hear that from you because a lot of people still they look at the thing so ignorantly, the
Yeah,
subject of cannabis, and it's like if you want to go scientific route, if you look at the molecules, of CBD and THC, they look exactly the same.
and
CBD is the side that doesn't get you high, and THC is the one that does get you high.
right, right,
But they got the same health benefits.
right, right.
But when you have them together, you get double the benefits, and a lot of people don't understand the health benefits of it.
And, let's be honest, in every culture, there's probably been some type of natural resource that they use to get that same feeling. Like, for example, in the Samoan culture, we have something called kava, and it's a root. It's a root from the earth that we dig up and then we mash it together and they make this soupy substance, and it's used in rituals and they pass it around and they drink it. But they usually only take a little sip, but it gets your tongue tingly. It kind of gives you kind of a drunk feeling. So of
Right,
course, the younger generations go okay, it's lit, So
right.
it's our life. You should be able to choose how you spend your life and what you choose to indulge in. If you can indulge in alcohol and give all these industries money, if you can indulge in cigarettes, cigarettes
Oh
are
God,
legal,
to
I'm not
that.
gonna start on that. That's complete, total, nasty, cancerous grossness. So if that's legal, I don't understand why cannabis should not be legal. So I'm glad they legalized it.
Thank you for their take on that. I just had to
Okay.
definitely hear your thoughts on that. You know what I mean? So what age, what age did you first start? Like you wrote your first song, you
For,
know, 14?
yeah.
What inspired you to write music at 14?
Let me tell you something, okay? I've been a hopeless romantic my entire life. I could probably tell you my crushes from kindergarten. Girl, what you know about boys in kindergarten? Apparently I thought they were cute and we should get married and have a wonderful family. Um, so
Yeah.
I was a hopeless romantic. So mostly everything that I read about is about feelings and love and relationships. I feel like I'm a oozing, bleeding heart. I have so much love to give, so it's I can only give so much, so I give the rest to my music. That's where I express it the most. So yeah.
That's very interesting. I actually dabbled in music, and I still mess around with it. I haven't really never been super serious
Yeah.
out of a couple of different times. But that kind of inspired mine too. You know what I'm saying? Like liking somebody and shit, being young
Yes.
and not knowing how to express that shit necessarily sometimes. And you go home and put the pen down and you be like, that's what started me off. So I understand why. Okay, I get that. That's dope.
And I really feel like music is just, it's a different language of expressing how we navigate our feelings. And
Right.
it could be about anything. It could be about a person, it could be about a place, it could be about a thing, it could be about ourselves, So
Right.
it's all about what is truly motivating you in that time. So,
Right.
I have a lot of love songs, but I also have songs about, growing up on the island, I always felt like I was too much for it. Like I wasn't meant to be there. Like, of course, I love where I'm from, and I'm always claiming I still got an 808 phone number, and that's never going to change. Hello.
Right.
But I always felt like my dreams, my aspirations, my personality was meant to be somewhere else.
Right.
And so I had a moment of time where I felt like imprisoned. And so I wrote a song about that, So it's all about what you're navigating in that point in time.
Wow. Okay, I respect it. I respect it. I definitely understand where you're coming from right there. It looks like you knew that you had a different purpose outside of where you grew up at very, very early. So I respect that.
The same way.
I want to know if we could hear something. Could we hear some heat? Like, can you play some heat for us? Because I want to really introduce to the people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So I'm dropping my first EP, and if you don't know what an EP is, because I've been saying it, people are like, what is an EP? Basically, it's a miniature album. It's not like 10 to 18 songs. It's 6 songs.
Yeah.
So this is one of the songs off of my EP. Okay, let me tell you something.
Oh yeah, let's hear that.
After hearing Smoke, I just feel like people don't know what to expect from me, and I like that. People don't even know my ethnicity, and I like that. People don't, and I like that. So I'm just here to surprise you, take you on a little journey. All right, so here's one of the songs off my EP. I'm gonna just play you a little snippet, but it's called.
Don't take much for me to sway you. I don't mean what to say. Extra life you gasping for air. Baby, I don't know if you can keep up. Science, baby, 'cause I'm science, baby, I'm too much to me, I'm too much, my friend is bad, I'm bad all by myself, I'm bad all by myself, I'm bad all by.
That's it.
What the hell?
See,
Hey, I really like that.
hey, I'm glad.
A nice little flow going to it, a nice beat going into it. Like, dang, like, wow, that's dope. That's dope. Wow. Dang. So this EP, what is this EP about?
So it's called Storyteller,
Mm-hmm.
and I chose to name it that because a lot of people associate themselves as a singer-songwriter. For me, I almost feel like I'm a songwriter-singer. Like I feel like the story and the meat and the music and the song itself comes first in my eyes in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. But when people come out as an artist, they usually kind of pick one lane, one sound, one way to go. And instead of focusing on the sound, I'm focusing on the story. Each song has a different message. Each song represents a different period or thought process of me dealing with a specific situation. Every song is its own story that fits into an entire book of a period of my life. So that's okay.
Woo! Keep on dropping them gems. Keep on doing it.
So each song, it's almost like a playlist in my opinion. Each song has its own unique flavor, but they kind of go together. You know, you can kind of ride the wave as it goes through the EP. So that's what I'm hoping for my listeners, that they can not only, you know, feel the music, but they can relate to the story and to the lyrics and the words of every single piece that is in it.
Definitely, definitely. And that's, you know, people that really listen to music like I do appreciate that. You know,
Yeah.
and like I definitely appreciate that. On that, why the route of an EP instead of a traditional way of a full album? Is there like a specific reason why you chose that route?
Yes. First of all, it's cheaper. And, to be honest, a longer album with more songs, it's kind of like a bigger investment, you know,
Right.
monetarily, but also musically, our attention span has just been shortened. That if a new artist comes out with an album, let's be honest, we're about to listen to the first 3 songs, decide if we like them, and move on. You know what I mean? So it's like I gave you enough. I gave you 6 songs. There are 9 tracks. I have an intro, interlude, and an outro because, you know, a beginning and middle and an end in a story. Hello. But there's just enough there for you to kind of understand who I am and for you to kind of play around if you do like my music, you know, because I don't expect everybody on the earth to be like, oh, that's just amazing. You know, everyone's going to have their own opinion. Right. But, you know, once you're more established as an artist and you have that fan base and you have those people who are devoted to you and will take that time to listen to that entire album, that's kind of when you should, you know, drop an album. That's kind of later, more an established artist thing. I think the world of music has now turned to EPs and singles. You know, there are some new artists that'll literally just drop a single every 6 months until they have like 10 songs out or something. And then they'll come with the EP, you know, just to kind of build their fan base. And then once they have, you know, a restaurant full of people, then I'm gonna feed you a full meal. You know what I mean? So
right. That's crazy because that's like a new era thing, you know.
Yeah.
From the era of, you know, albums, you know what I'm saying? And you have to physically go in the store and buy the CD. You know, and like especially with R&B, like you said, I understand earlier you said about the short attention span. People decide within the first 3 songs, but for me, or I think I'm not the only music head that thinks like this, especially when I find some nice R&B. If I hear the first 3 songs and they nice, I want more. Like some notable R&B albums of my childhood, you know, Aaliyah, 1 in a Million, you know, when I heard, you know, the intro with Missy, Aaliyah, wake up, and then the, you know, the next song, and it was like, damn, like I want to continue listening to this album, or, you know, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, you know, when I heard her first 3 songs, it was like, I want more. So I understand that route for sure, but, you know, from coming from my era, we're so used to having that. So, you know, I know eventually you'll get to a traditional album once you have, you know, more, you know, capital and more of a larger fan base, if you will, you know, able to drop that. So no, I understand. I understand what you're saying.
But I think, you know, as an artist who I kind of have an old soul, you know, I structured my EP like an album. You know, I mean that you can flow with from beginning to end. It's not just the compilation of 5 songs that I've been working on. You know, it's a project. It's an entity in itself. So I think even if you are an EP type or you're an album type, I think that my project is something that you can, you know, flow with.
Definitely. You said you're an old soul, so I want to ask you, what are some of your favorite artists from what you can, as old as you can remember? You know what I mean? I know you're you know, pretty young, but you know, what are some of the favorite artists from like the past?
Okay, so you'll be able to tell this in my music too. I have a lot of different influences. First of all, Hawaii is a melting pot of different ethnicities, different cultures. So we all just take our stuff and we mix it together. So
well, would say that again? Say that what you just said one more time for me.
I said we take all of our stuff and we mix
Who's
it.
we?
We, as in the people of Hawaii.
Okay, okay. Because I thought I heard that, but I wasn't sure. So Hawaii, people of Hawaii, got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
So my earliest number one inspiration was Alicia Keys.
Mm.
How about I used to go around and sing "If I Ain't Got You" every day. Okay, my heart out. Growing up, my dad used to play a lot of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Cool in the Gang. Used to play. Okay, come on with it. My mother loved Donna Summer. She loved the Pointer Sisters. Like all of those really big iconic groups. Then I have a lot of like reggae influences and island music influences. Favorite Tip Top, Lauryn Hill.
Woo, L Bug. Shout out to L Bug.
Girl, yes. Who else? SWV. I sing their songs all the time.
Yeah.
No, we going to karaoke. It's so weak. That's my song. Don't play it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those are some of my earliest influences, and then along the way, there have been small artists like Kareem Bailey Rae. I loved her when she came out with what's that song called? It's not called Three Little Birds, but it starts with Three Little Birds. Put your records on. There it is. Who else? I don't know. Michael Jackson. Can't skip him.
Mike. Woo.
Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston. The greats,
Yeah. You had a very, very impressive list. You know what I'm saying? You reached all the way back to Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah.
And that's crazy, man. My dad played a lot of that growing up. You had it looks like you had some artists. It makes sense the way the artist you are. It makes sense your style of music.
Right.
So also, do you feel that today you can find those type of R&B artists? I'm only asking because I haven't got all the time in the day to listen to every new artist. So mainstream, I haven't really heard much R&B. Have you?
I want to say, let's start off first with how do we define R&B, right?
Right.
That's the first question.
Right.
Because music evolves with time, and I think R&B itself is also evolving.
It has evolved.
Yeah, for sure. It continues to evolve, right? And there's a friend of mine who started his own brand, and it's called R&Bass. And when I first heard that term, I was like, that is probably the most relevant term to what R&B is now, because it's not just R&B anymore. It's R&B with hip hop influences. Some of my music, for me, I consider myself an R&B artist, but I've heard people tell me, oh, you're neo soul, you're pop, you're this, you're that. And a lot of the time it's like, how do I even define genre anymore? Everything is such a mixed together. We're all taking influences from each other, Right. So as far as traditional R&B, Music Soul Child, the R&B greats, mainstream, I can't really think of anyone that falls in that same category in my head.
Right.
But it's also like, how do you recreate an entire generation of it? You know what I mean? Like, we can only create R&B that's relevant to our generation.
Yes. Yes. Definitely.
Influenced by them. Like, for example, Smoke, right?
Right.
My single, by the way, if nobody knows, go look it up. Okay.
Watch it on where. Tell them where you can watch Smoke at.
You can watch Smoke on YouTube, and you can stream it anywhere you play music. I'm talking Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes.
Go watch that, y'all. Go watch the video. Go listen. Go stream Smoke. It's hot. I already heard it. It's hot. Go listen to it.
Thank you so much. Well, Smoke has a very nostalgic feel to it, but it's also kind of current. So it's kind of taking two generations and bringing them together, and infusing my own personal life into it. So to answer your question, off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody that will be on the same level as our R&B greats, or that is writing music that is like perfectly fits in that box. But I think there are artists, especially underground artists. I know a lot of really great singers who emulate that R&B sound, but of course are infusing some, modern hip hop and trap influences to keep
Right.
young listeners.
And
Oh
that's
wait.
and that's that's a lot of what's going on right now. A lot of the artists that I've listened to, I've listened to through my kids. They introduced me to certain things.
Right.
But I have heard some stuff from Janae Aiko. I think she's dope as shit.
Yeah.
SZA.
Mhm.
There's some artists out there. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but they're very talented. I do enjoy listening to them.
So like I think current R&B, the top, so as an artist, I had to kind of figure out my I wouldn't say my lane, but like the bus I'm on, right? I need to figure out if I'm gonna open for an artist, who am I gonna open for?
Mm-hmm.
I had to kind of think about myself in that way. And so the artist that I kind of find myself drawn to in an R&B sense, she's super R&B. Have you heard her?
Her, yeah, I was gonna name her too. That was the one.
Mahalia. There's a girl named Amber Mark. She's kind of more new, but she's mainstream for sure. Janae Aiko. Who else? Come to the top of my brain. I don't know if you've heard Tiana Taylor's new album, but she has a lot of great R&B stuff in there too. Like I never really thought of her as an R&B artist, but
she's
was dope. Like I play that stuff all the
her
time.
style is dope. I dig it. I dig it.
I like to see that her style is, I think hers is R&B with hip hop influence. Like some of our other ladies that I named is R&B with pop influence. So it's like always just layers of what the artist is influenced by. But I feel like they're riding the lane of R&B right now. So that's what
I like that.
Yeah.
So I have a pretty tough question to ask you.
Ain't no question tough. Go ahead.
Okay. How has it been? So, entering an industry, R&B, or if you will, but a lot of the style of music traditionally, people call it quote unquote black music, right? How has your time been doing quote unquote black music? What has it been your reception from people? Like, have people embraced you, or have you faced some tough stuff? Have you faced some discrimination or some hate because people think you're trying to be something you're not or whatnot? How has that worked out for you on that end?
That is a great question. To be honest, nobody knows what I am.
Right.
So at the end of the day, most people assume that I'm African American.
I did.
Low key, I did to talk to my dad. My dad is dark, so I'm like, Dad, I'm just kidding. But I have not received any discrimination. I've not received any type of "what are you doing? Who are you? Your skin's too fair to do this" type of thing.
Yeah.
I think number one, because of the way I carry myself. Number two, the communities that I'm involved in. Right. My group of friends, ethnic. Okay, that's all I got. And if they're not ethnic, then they understand and are a part of that culture. But I am a lot of different ethnicities. But at the end of the day, like, I know that Africa is the motherland. So let's be honest. I'm truly just a couple generations from the right skin color. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't have that understanding.
I'm just being true to my heart, my soul, and the blood that flows through my veins.
Right.
The tone of my skin.
Wow.
Because that was a couple shades darker than Hawaii, okay? That doesn't do it for me. I came to California, was here for like 3 years. The doctor was like, ma'am, you need to take some vitamin D pills. I said, huh? What?
Yes. Wow. Okay. Okay. I see. That kind of like segues into the next, the next question. Of course, with the whole, it's a two-part question. How has the pandemic thing affected anything have you been doing in music? And also, piggybacking off the last topic, uh, the whole protesting and the thing happened with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor's case being brought back up, and the gentleman Ahmed that got killed while he was running. You
Mhm.
know, how hard has that been for you as far as, because I know you've been around, you have black friends, ethnic people that you grew up as black, people that you love as black. So how hard has that been for you? Because obviously, I know you probably have somebody around you that probably said something against it or negative, or maybe somebody in the family, or maybe have you had that? How has that experience been for you?
Oh, it's been okay. Starting the beginning. Pandemic, COVID-19.
COVID-19.
To be honest, quarantine itself has been a blessing.
Mm.
I got sick right before quarantine, and I got laryngitis, which is like the hardest thing for a singer to have. If you don't know what laryngitis means, it means can't talk, can't sing, can't do nothing with my voice. And I work as a singing teacher. I also teach piano. I also do dance lessons. So all I do is use my voice. That's my hustle for all around.
Yeah.
And so losing that made me feel powerless. It made me feel worthless. It made me feel depressed. And I was still trying to push myself way too hard when I should have just been resting, but I don't know how to rest. So now I don't know what to do. And so quarantine was like, hey, sit down. So I actually got to really rest and recuperate and refocus on my self-care mentally, emotionally, physically, and allowed me to kind of recuperate my voice throughout that time. Now, everything that's happened since George Floyd, yes, I have come into contact with comments and people saying things without having experience or being educated. And I actually did a whole video on Instagram about this because I was hot.
Yes.
Everyone I love is Black. My students, I teach in Compton. All of my students, like when that happened to George Floyd, that made me think, what if that was my student? You know what I'm saying? My students are my kids. They're my life.
Right.
So for someone who, especially back home, we're sheltered. We're so sheltered in Hawaii. We come from a beautiful island with great weather. The police in our community is my auntie, uncle, stepdad's sister. I got pulled over multiple times back home. Blah, blah. He'd be like, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let your mom know. Like we all know each other, so it's different. If a police officer in Hawaii was to pull you over and create brutality, bro, like my uncle and my cousins and the whole community is coming after you.
Right.
They're gonna back, the pedestrian, the person, because you just treat people how you expect to be treated. That's just common law, especially on the side of the island where I'm from.
Right.
So for people to speak out and not have lived here in the United States, the mainland, right? Or even in a city like Los Angeles, or to date someone who's African American, right? My ex-boyfriend was African American. We were together for 4 years. When I tell you he would leave the house late at night and go for a drive, I'm like, you need to turn your location on. You need to call me. Okay, I know I seem crazy, but no. Like we got pulled over on the freeway because we were like in the HOV lane or something crazy, and it was a motorcycle cop, and he came and got my boyfriend's information off of his license. And he was saying like something didn't add up, so he was asking for the keys in the car, and I was like, no, wait, maybe like he needs to know you're like, his last name was weird, like there was a junior in his last name. So I got out the car and was like, sir, wait, and he was like, ma'am, get in the car. And I'm like, no, but you don't understand, like I'm fighting for his life because I know you won't shoot me if I get out the car, but if he gets in the car, you gonna shoot him. You know what I mean? Like, so for people to speak on something without really walking alongside someone and their life experience, without understanding and hearing from them, their personal experiences, like you really can't talk.
Right.
Stop talking about things that you don't know anything about. If you don't know anything about it, be quiet and sit down. And let the people who do have a voice and do have experiences and do connect with it speak up, you know, and you can get educated and you can talk to people and then form your opinions. But other than that, just be quiet. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And it's all been ridiculous, you know, but let's just be honest. The country was never built for ethnic people.
Yeah.
We're just going to leave it at that because that could be a whole podcast itself.
That could be a whole podcast itself. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I thank you for taking your time out today and to be with us today. I definitely want you to play one more snippet for us. We go out. We want to hear something else. Let's let them hear something else.
Okay.
Yes.
Dang, what am I playing? I only thought about one snippet. Okay. Put me on the spot. All right, we'll play this one.
Here I am caught again, a dilemma. Every reason I go, but I can't. Trying to forget, but I still remember how right it felt and it hit. Ooh, it won't so matter. I'll forgive it. Twice and I'll say I'm not tripping. It's hard to get it. Maybe it's just it. It won't so matter. I'll forgive it. Twice and I'll say I'm not tripping. It's hard to get it. Maybe I'm the foolish. Why do I keep falling for the same shit? I can't unsee it. Your potential. Why can't I see through the game and the tricks and not back my eyes at your potential?
There you go.
Hey, you know what? I'm excited for this EP to come out, man. That was some heat. That was some heat. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, go follow Masina, XO Masina on Instagram. Download or listen to her, stream her EP coming out. It's already out, right? Dropped today, right?
It drops on my birthday, July 30th.
July 30th. Go let them know where they could find you again and where they could listen to the EP at when it drops on all platforms, correct?
On all streaming platforms. You can purchase it on iTunes. I have a music video up on YouTube, and then the music will shortly be up on YouTube as well. So if you have no excuses,
Yeah.
your birthday present and go listen to it, okay?
That's right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this music edition. We're going to have a lot more of these. Shout out to my co-host Tez. Get back, fam. We're gonna get it back cracking. Shout out to Ken Chronicle. Shout out to the Politic Informed. All my partners. Shout out to everybody, man, that's out there trying to do something with their life. And we're gonna definitely be back with y'all later on this week. Thank you for tuning in to the High Nation Society podcast music edition with our special guest, Masina. Thank y'all for listening. Y'all have a good day.